What's up, guys? Joe White here, and as you can tell probably by the sound of my voice, I have a bit of a cold, bit of a sore throat, so this one is not going to be pretty as far as audio goes. But before we begin my top 10 worst movies of 2017 that I've seen so far, please keep in mind there's a lot of them here, like Molly's Game and all this other stuff, like Rock Dog and all this stuff that I haven't seen, which Molly's Game looks to be good. I'm excited for that one. Jessica Chastain looks like she's going to do a damn good job and maybe even get a best actress nom out of it. Um, excuse me. I haven't really seen a lot of bad movies this year. I mean, well, I've seen a lot of bad movies this year, but not as much as people are naming. Like Rock Dog and the Emoji Movie. I never had any interest in seeing the Emoji Movie. Before we begin this list, though, I'd like to take this time to plug the official, unofficial sponsor of the From Pillar to Post YouTube channel, and that's the boys over at American Lucha Designs. Look, if you are a pro wrestler who needs gear design, if you need a logo designed, even if you're not in the wrestling business, if you're a fellow podcaster like me and you need a new logo designed, these are the boys that can hook you up. Mario and Jason over at American Lucha Designs can take anything that you want, make a logo out of it. They'll make you merchandise. They'll hook you up with whatever you want over there at American Lucha Designs. Feel free to follow them on Twitter right now at American Lucha. Let's get into this right here now. Save for number one. These are in no particular order from 10 to 2. Number one is my worst movie of the year that I've seen. Number 10 here that I have here is The Dark Tower. I did a video or a podcast earlier this year talking about how it was the year of Stephen King. You had The Mist coming out on Spike, which that proved to be a flop. And then you had It coming out in theaters, which was pretty damn good. It made my top 10 best movies of 2017, which it hasn't been making a lot of the usual film critics lists, but I firmly believe that movie right there is one of the best horror movies ever done, and it's one of the best it's one of the best movies, period, of 2017. And if it does not at least get one Oscar nomination, I'd be shocked. But The Dark Tower, the excuse me, I gotta get me something to drink here. My throat is killing me. The trailer had me excited. I was excited for the trailer. I was excited that they were tying it into the rest of his movies. Like you saw stuff for Pennywise and Christine and all that stuff. And then even if you were read the books, which I haven't, it just was a disappointment. It was a disappointment all around. The story was hard to follow. It was hard to keep up with. It was just all over the place. The effects were all over the place. It looked like it was very much thrown together at the last minute. So yeah, The Dark Tower, probably my most disappointing movie of 2010, but it's making taking the first spot on our top 10 worst movies of 2017. Again, these are in no particular order, but this is just how I have them here on the page, except for number 1. Number 9 is Blood Wars. Yeah, gotta be honest with you, the only reason why I watched this movie is because my girlfriend loves the Underworld movies, and I downloaded it, I watched it, she loved it, I freaking hate it. Kate Beckinsale, you're too damn good of an actress and too damn pretty of an actress to be doing this mess. Please let this be the last one, guys. Please let this be the last. No more Underworld movies, please. It was just hard to sit through. It really was hard to sit through, and it's just not my thing to begin with. But Underworld Blood Wars is same continuing story of one vampire and her love for the one lichened vampire hybrid, and it's not that good. It is just not that good. Number 8 on my top 10 list here is The Disaster Artist, and I know what you're gonna say. Joe, that's one of the best movies of the year, and I'll agree with you. It's a double-edged sword for me. I liked the movie. I loved the movie. The problem with this is that the source material that this is based on, for me, I mean, I get it, The Room, and people go treat it like it's Rocky Horror now, throwing cutlery at the, plastic cutlery at the screen, and it's the worst movie ever made, but that makes it good. It's so bad, it's good, it's so stupid, it's funny, blah, 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 blah. But the whole time I'm sitting here watching this movie, I'm sitting here going, why doesn't somebody just tell this guy how bad his shit is? All the while I'm sitting here going, yes, I know you're going to get a production Hollywood credit, and yes, your movie's going to be shown in theaters, blah, 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 but I'm sitting here going, why, and this is the question that I think the movie needs to answer, and I think the book does too. The book flat out answers it. Is that why during the making of this movie, did nobody tell this guy? Why did nobody tell this guy how bad this movie actually is? Sorry, fighting with headphones. But I mean, I'm sitting there going, this guy, everybody says he looks like a vampire or Frankenstein. I don't get that. He looks just like a creepy old white guy, okay? I don't get where he would be. And if he's really this bad of an actor, why would anybody say you could play Frankenstein or you could play vampire? You know, it's just, no, you don't want to play anything at all. That's what they should have been saying to this guy. Also, I have the thing of, why didn't this guy, if he's treating everybody like shit, I don't get what draws people to this guy. I don't get why this character I don't get why David Franco, I think it's David Franco's character, is so drawn to him. I don't get that at all. I don't get why this guy is wanting to be friends with him. There's more questions than answers in this movie. And a lot of people say, well, that's what you get when you meet Tommy Wiseau in real life. And my answer is that, yeah, that's true, but not for the other characters. It's not supposed to be like that for the other characters in this film. So James Franco does an excellent job playing Wiseau. Dave Franco does an excellent job playing Greg Sinestro. Seth Rogen, everybody's giving Seth Rogen a huge praise. I'm not a huge Seth Rogen fan to begin with. I think he's just like, he has his moments, but I think that he's just like a Will Ferrell in that it's being stupid to be stupid. And much like a lot of how adults my age saw Jim Carrey back in the day, I guess. And even as I got older, I'm sitting there going, Jim Carrey's not fucking funny. A lot of his, he can do serious work too, but the Jim and Andy documentary's good too. I should have included that in my top 10 best movies of 2017 because I found myself watching that movie a lot. But anyway, getting back to The Disaster Artist, I'm sitting here going, why doesn't anybody punch this motherfucker out? And then, and spoiler alert here for this one, a lot, there comes a time where the guy, Dave Franco's character of Greg, who plays Mark in the room in the film, Greg finds a girlfriend and moves in with his girlfriend, and thus moving out of Tommy's apartment. And Tommy has a little bit of the damn green eyes because of it, because he's jealous and blah blah blah. But I'm sitting there going, he comes in the next day going, why don't you get your girlfriend to help you? That stupid freaking accent that was more annoying. The more and more I heard it in this movie, the more and more annoyed I got by it. The one good part in the film is near the end of the movie where, Greg finally has enough, and they're in the middle of this park, and Greg basically what it boils down to is Greg and his girlfriend see, oh man, what is it? Give me 1 second here. I'll find it in a minute. Basically, they see Bryan Cranston in a coffee shop, and the girlfriend knows Bryan Cranston from like a yoga or for Pilates class. So Bryan Cranston sees Greg with his girlfriend, and he sees Greg has a beard, and he's like, look, you would look perfect for a episode of Malcolm in the Middle where you have to play a lumberjack or whatever the case may be, and Sinestro is all about it, and then there's Tommy won't give Greg Sinestro the time off from the room to go and film this plot. And I'm sitting here going, dude, if I had a choice in real life between your fucking movie and I know it's biographical to a certain extent, but I'm sitting here, I guess this is the emotion that the film is supposed to evoke, but I'm sitting there going, did it really happen this way? Did you seriously walk off a part of Malcolm in the Middle to go and do this? And so they get into, basically he stays on with the room. He shaves his beard, and he ends up doing the part with the room and not going out for the Malcolm in the Middle thing. And Tommy Wiseau fires everybody on the movie, tries to cheer up Greg, and it leads to this big fight in the park where Greg is like, where's the money coming from? Where are you? Where are you from? How old are you? That's the best scene in the movie to me. It's sad that once Bryan Cranston enters into the movie, that's like the best part. But I'm sitting here going, why isn't anybody just, standing up to this guy? Why isn't anybody punching this guy in the face? And that's not addressed in the movie as to why this cast and crew are not doing that. And I'm in the process of listening to the audiobook, and I'm hoping the audiobook of which this film is based off of explains a little bit of that. I felt like they could have gone into the aspect of the crew, like he had to fire the crew twice, and in this movie he only fires it once. Just the accent in this guy's voice just really turned me off of listening to it for an hour and a half. I was like, it ended up becoming nails on a chalkboard. And I just, it's good in small doses. It's one that you want to break out every now and then when you're in the mood for a biopic, I guess is what you would call it. The action's good. I don't think the story is enough to warrant a full-on motion picture. Maybe a made-for-TV movie. Maybe this would have done better as a, how they did the O.J., the same people who did American Horror Story did the O.J. series. And maybe this would do something better than that as a network miniseries. But I don't think it warrants a full-on motion picture. The direction is okay. The editing in this movie is okay. A lot of people are saying this is going to turn heads and get award nominations and all that. I honestly think that being the way the Academy is, the way the Academy is for this, they're not going to sit there and award. It's got 2 nominations at the Golden Globes, but I highly think that the Academy is not going to sit there and go, look, if we give anything to this, that's acknowledging that the source material for this is something special. And it's not. I'm sorry. It's a good thing to laugh at. Yes, it's a bad movie. You pull it out to somebody who's never seen it and make them sit through it and go, isn't this ridiculous? But it's not worth a full-on motion picture. I'm sorry. I don't care what other critics say. This is just my opinion. Did I like The Disaster Artist? I liked it. Is it enough to sit there and go and see why everybody's wigging out over it? No. It's not that. It's damn good, but it's not that good. So number 8 here, people are going to say, well, Joe, if it's good, why are you putting it on your worst movies list? Well, put it to you this way. The accent gets to be so annoying in this movie that I had to watch it in sections. Like, I had to watch 15 minutes of it, pause it, and go take a break to get that voice out of my head. I didn't understand it. I don't understand why he plays this accent so over the top when Tommy Wiseau does not sound that over the top normally. I listened to an interview with him on Howard Stern that he did in December just the other day when they were doing their best of thing. Tommy Wiseau does not sound like that. There's even a spot in the movie where they do the side-by-side comparisons of The Room and them filming the scenes for The Room for this movie. And the one part before he goes, "Hi, Mark," where he's like, "I did not." Tommy Wiseau goes, "I did not." But James Franco playing Wiseau goes, "I did not," dragging it out. And you can see side by side, like, that's wrong. And apparently Franco just did a ton of homework for this. He submersed himself into the character. I just don't see what the big fuss about. It wasn't one of my favorite movies of the year. That's why it's on this list. Number 7 here is Baywatch. Baywatch here is just, I'm sick and tired of seeing shows like they did it with 21 Jump Street. They did it with Chips this year. And now they did it with Baywatch, where it's like, we got to take all the cheesy 90s comedies or 90s dramas, because 21 Jump Street was not from what I remember, it wasn't that much of a comedy at all. Chips was a comedy, but it was serious at times. Baywatch could be awfully serious in most episodes. Why do we got to turn them around into 2-hour comedies? I like Dwayne The Rock Johnson most of the time as an actor. I'm curious to see what Rampage is like. Rampage, my son wants to go see Rampage. He's like, I want to go see Rampage, Dad. So I'm gonna have to drag him to see it, or he's gonna have to drag me to see it, I should say. But Baywatch here, they totally destroyed it. It was boring. It was not funny. It was sophomore humor. If they would have thrown Will Ferrell in there, it would have proved my point about when Will Ferrell. It's a Will Ferrell-esque movie. It's stupid. It insults your intelligence. It's boring. It's poorly written. It's poorly shot. And poorly acted. Number 6 here on my list is The Circle. This one, of course, starring Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, Patton Oswalt. I think John Boyega is in it as well. Wasn't what I expected. The trailers here for this was like, oh my God, it's corporate espionage, and they're hiding something, and it's not really what it is. It's all at all. I will tell you this. Beauty and the Beast almost made my list for the same reason that this movie did. In the fact that I am not a huge fan of Emma Watson. I liked her as Hermione Granger in Harry Potter, but it seems like ever since then, she's typecast. I'm sorry. She just is with me. You can't get past Hermione Granger. Every part that she plays it like Hermione Granger. In this movie, she's supposed to have an American accent, and it slips. There's at times where it's like she doesn't even try. Tom Hanks in this one is I hate to say it, if there was ever a bad movie that Tom Hanks did, it's this one. And that saddens me to say, because I was always the guy that said Tom Hanks never made a bad movie. Patton Oswalt, I'm not a huge fan of him. He could be funny, but everybody's like, when he shows up, everybody's like, oh, it's Patton Oswalt. Oh, I'm like, okay, it's Patton Oswalt. The only saving grace where I kind of like this movie is the fact that I believe, it was Bill Paxton's last movie that he did. It came out right after he died. Bill Paxton there's an interesting scene involving Emma Watson's parents in this. So it was, Bill Paxton just does a good job, and he's kind of like the shining light in the movie, as is John Boyega does a awesome job as well. So number 6 on my list of top worst movies of the year is The Circle. Number 5, no surprise to anyone, The Transformers: The Last Knight. Do we really need another one of these? And now they're following this up of, we're going to do Bumblebee set in the 90s or 80s. I don't care. The first one was okay, and every one after that has just been dud after dud after dud. It's like, it's this time we got corn in the turd, folks. I'm sorry. There's no other way to describe it. I know that's gross, but there's no other way to describe this movie. And then we go from that movie to another movie that kind of has the same subject matter, and that's King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. One of them's done by, I'm sorry, it's like we went from dealing with Merlin and Transformers to Merlin and the actual source material. And they, it's got Charlie Hunnam in it, and I like Charlie Hunnam. I'm a huge fan of Charlie Hunnam. But Guy Ritchie directed this one, and it's just all over the place. You get those famous Guy Ritchie fast forward back in time, and we'll show you how the plot unfolded and how we got from point A to point B. It's like he did in A-Team. It's got Jude Law in this one. The beginning of the movie is good. The end of the movie is good. Everything in between is enough to drag it down and just make it to where it gets put on this list. I thought they could have done. It's poor. The script. I would love to see the script of this movie. It's poorly written. It's poorly acted. Hunnam does a decent job in the movie, but it's like polish a turd. It's still a turd, folks. So the next one on my list is Flatliners. Let me put it to you this way. I'm a huge fan of Ellen Page. And I had hopes for this one because the original one was okay, and they redid the poster to kind of look like the original Flatliners from 1990. But actually, excuse me, it looks less like Flatliners and more like Scanners. But this was so horrible. Kiefer Sutherland's in it for like a brief period of time. It just, to me, I look at Ellen Page and Diego Luna, and I go, "You're way better than this. Why are you doing this shit? Movies." It's just there's no horror to it at all. There's no plot. I mean, the plot is what it is. I mean, you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie. Number three on my list is Justice League. No surprise here, folks. I'm sad that I had to put this on here because they didn't even try. They didn't even try. The whole bit about the mustache, and it's just the plot's all over the place again, and everybody's complaining about the scene with Wonder Woman, how there's 50 butt shots with her in leather pants, even though that's totally wrong, Grace Randolph, by the way. That scene is maybe 10 seconds long. Where I have the problem in this movie and why it's number 2 on my list is the CG. The CG was Ezra Miller as Flash, I hated it. I hated all the damn comedy. I hated just the good. You could tell there was 2 directors on here. Zack Snyder I would love to see Zack Snyder's cut of the film, because from what was screened earlier in the year, from what I hear, there was this Apocalypse, I think, or not Apocalypse, Darkseid was in this movie. And it was very, very well done from what I heard. The Zack Snyder cut. Will we ever see the Zack Snyder cut? I don't know, but I did a kind of a mini review of it on an episode of Pillow to Post, I think. The story was Steppenwolf is a character who's maybe been in about 15 books over the years. His storyline is not that great. He's a third-rate villain at best as far as the comics go. The CGI on him looked bad. That whole CGI in the last sequence looked bad. You could so tell that they're up against blue and green screens. Again, Ezra Miller, I could take him or leave him. I really wish they would have gotten the Flash from the TV show to come in and play Flash in the movies. But I know they'll never do that because you can't cross those 2 lines. But it just, Justice League was a bomb. And it surprised me how worse of a bomb it really got. I thought it would make more money than that. But the DCEU as we know it is dead. Fans are not willing to come out and see it. They don't care because of Batman versus Superman. It's like the king is dead, pretty much. Number 1 on my list, 50 Shades Darker. Yes, folks, I have a deal with my girlfriend. I got Deadpool, and then she got 50 Shades Darker. I'll be honest with you, the first 50 Shades of Grey was okay. It's not a good film by any means, but it's better than the sequel. When my girlfriend walks out of the movie and goes, "There's too much sex," it's like they would act one scene out, and it's like they couldn't act a full scene out if they weren't making out or getting half naked afterwards. My girlfriend is like, "There's too much sex in the movie. It really doesn't convey the story that the books tell." And E.L. James is supervising the script. Nothing gets past it without her. So how is it that the woman who wrote the books is able to let this kind of garbage be produced? So yeah, 50 Shades Darker is my number 1 worst movie of the year. It sucks. It's horrible. It's poorly acted. The music in it is terrible. The only thing I did like about the movie is the bad guy, the publisher, the fake publisher, the guy who ends up starts off as Anastasia Steele's boss. Other than that, once he disappears, it's like, okay, So yeah, 50 Shades Darker. It just sucks. It's my worst movie of 2017. I wanted to elaborate a little bit more, but as you guys can hear, my voice is just shot. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on The Disaster Artist being on this list, but I had to watch it in sections, and it was just, I was like, okay, this... I came out of the movie with more questions than answers. That's all I'll say. And I'm sitting there going, the main reason the main thing I walked away with is Tommy Wiseau is just a mean son of a bitch. who mistreats people to get what he wants. And while he claims to be I'm in America, ha ha ha, you have no idea what it's like to be American because you're an idiot. You're an asshole idiot who scraped together enough money to make a movie and you bought your way into the system, pal. That's all it is. You bought your way into Hollywood. And people love your movie for all the wrong reasons, and it's okay that you've embraced that you fucked up. That's all it is to it. So, folks, that was my top 10 worst movies of 2017. These are the ones I hated. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit the like button. Share my content. Please go out there and share my content. And most importantly, subscribe.